10 is Let Me In. Now, Mandy set up Ring cameras around her rural property to capture footage of the wildlife, but when the mom of 2 was out with her family one night, she got a notification about movement near her back door. When she looked at the footage, she noticed a shadow before someone loudly whispers the words, "Let me in." There is then rapid scratching as if someone is trying to enter her home. Now, terrified by the encounter, she started closely monitoring her cameras, and when she found more footage of a figure lurking near her back shed, and then another night a cloaked person slowly walked up to her backyard, staring up at her house. Now, in the first clip, a strange figure walks into the corner of the frame and lingers near Mandy's back shed before leaving. In the second clip, the person makes her way into the backyard and stands just a meter from the back steps near where Mandy was tending to her sick baby inside. "We notified authorities, but this is making me feel angry, confused, and concerned," she said. Now, Mandy went on to explain that she had now added extra security cameras with floodlights and that the US couple are now armed in order to protect their family from any future trespassers. Now, people were incredibly disturbed by the footage Mandy had captured, saying they believed the first one to be a spirit, but the second one to be an actual person messing with the family. Yeah, I think they need to move ASAP. For 9. Are you sure? Now, this footage scares me to my core. It shows a man approaching a house and repeatedly knocking on the door while repeating, "I just have a couple questions for you. Are you sure?" Now, this goes on for a couple of minutes before a man responds over the Ring doorbell. At this point, the footage turns all the more unsettling as the man at the door says he wants to take advantage of and end the life of the woman inside the house. Now, the footage was shared by Amanda Nowak of Las Vegas, and according to Amanda, she was inside the house hiding during the entire encounter. Now, the man never saw her and was never actually speaking directly to her in the tense 3 minutes, and thankfully the man has been arrested, but that doesn't make the footage any less unnerving. Number 8. Past homeowner. Apparently, if your family owned a property decades ago and sold it, that still means it's yours. Well, at least according to Judy Klein. Since January 2022, she has been harassing a Mexican family in St. Louis, Missouri, accusing them of being in the country illegally. Over several incidents, Judy had broken into their basement, damaged items, racially his family, and threatened them with a hammer. It wasn't until Ring footage of her shouting obscenities on the family's doorstep was put online that the authorities took things more seriously. In the past year, Judy had reportedly only been taken into custody temporarily, which is why she kept coming back. In February 2023, Judy was arrested on several charges, including burglary and using a weapon. In June, she gained another offense with interference of housing rights, and now she's also banned from being near or contacting the family. For 7. The Masked Man. Finding a masked man at your front door in the middle of the night can be pretty scary, but when that man returns to your home 3 times in 1 week, it's downright frightening, a blogger for Ring explains. Now, they said that because that's exactly what happened to a family in Milford, Connecticut. After just a couple of days into their vacation, where they were more than 100 miles away from their home, Ring alerted them that a masked man was at their front door. Though he couldn't break in, he returned a few days later. Now, despite the family sending the videos to police and local news stations, the man returned again. This time, however, he was arrested, and thank God, because who knows what he would have tried to do. Number 6. Poison. A man who lived below a family in Florida got fed up with hearing noises from above him and felt that his complaints were not being heard, so he tried to poison them, and it was caught on camera. Umar Abdullah, his pregnant wife, and their young daughter moved into the apartment complex in June 2022. The man below them soon began sending angry texts to his new neighbors, complaining that he was losing sleep over the sound of a toilet seat clanging. Soon after, the family suddenly began experiencing unexplained bouts of nausea and dizziness. A family friend first noticed a chemical odor while grabbing a package for them while they were away on vacation. Umar then also noticed the scent and suspected an issue with his water heater. However, the stench persisted even after he replaced the appliance and had his air ducts and vents cleaned. Now, desperate for resolution, he called the fire department, who conducted tests but found nothing amiss. Now, he eventually noticed a small crack in his doorway and began to suspect his neighbor. After falling ill yet again, he set up a hidden camera outside his door and was shocked to see his neighbor crouching down and emptying a syringe under his front door. The man used a laboratory on the University of South Florida campus to mix and load liquid syringes on multiple occasions with with the intent to harm residents of the condominium. He was then arrested on June 27th, and a hazmat team revealed the liquid chemical agent contained a combination of methadone and hydrocodone, both opioid pain medications. Now, word of the shocking poisoning sent other residents of the Oxford Place at Tampa Palms into a state of panic, and according to a suit, they seek to kick out the man and his co-owner roommate from the complex. Number 5. Standing visitor. A woman who wished to remain anonymous checked her doorbell camera to find a stranger standing outside her house and staring for a few minutes. The resident, who lives in one of the houses in the Darlings of Hart Village near Hartpool, said the incident happened at 3:15 a.m. on Monday, January 31st, 2022. She shared the alarming footage to a local community Facebook page and warned other residents to be careful. In the clip, a tall, skinny-built man in a dark-colored jacket walks to the footpath right in front of her house and stops midway. He stalls and appears to check on his phone before stepping forward again, taking a pause. Now, according to the timestamp, he stayed for about 6 minutes before he walked away from the camera. The woman said he stood there for a few minutes from 3:15 a.m. to 3:21 a.m. She added then that he disappeared for an hour, not sure where, and then he came back running from the side of her house into a car. Nothing seems to be taken, but it's just super creepy, she said. She asked her neighbors to see if they have seen the man near their houses, but they said no, but a resident replied on her Facebook page that something similar happened to them a few weeks ago. Number 4. Kidnapping. On November 12, 2019, disturbing footage of a woman screaming for help was captured from a Ring doorbell camera in Los Angeles around 11 p.m. Now, the police were not aware of the doorbell footage until the following morning, but responded to a report of a possible kidnapping. LAPD officer Mike Lopez said responding authorities could not find evidence of a crime, and after the footage came to light, the LAPD reopened their investigation. Now, the screams were thought to be coming from a white vehicle that drives down the street. A woman is heard yelling, "Somebody help me," and a witness claims she also heard a man say, "I'm sorry." Now, what's crazy about this footage though is that the neighbor comes out of her house and hears all the screaming and does absolutely nothing. The bystander effect is truly disgusting, and she could have saved that woman. Number 3. Doorbell liquor. On January 8, 2019, police started searching for a man in Salinas, California, who spent 3 hours licking a doorbell in the middle of the night. The individual in question, Roberto Daniel Aurora, was easy to track down thanks to a newly installed surveillance system at the home. The Duggan family were not home when Roberto made his way to their doorbell, but their children were. Roberto also moved an extension cord in the front yard, and he relieved himself on camera. But yeah, he licked a doorbell for 3 hours, which is just disturbing. You kind of laugh about it afterwards because technically he didn't harm anyone, he didn't break anything, homeowner Sylvia told ABC, but I don't know if I'd be able to laugh about it though because it was extremely weird. Number 2. Strange woman. On August 24th, 2018, a resident from the Sunrise Ranch neighborhood in Montgomery, Texas, contacted local authorities after a strange woman rang her doorbell in the middle of the night. A partially undressed woman who appeared to be wearing some sort of hand restraint rang the bell and left. Some people believe she was related to a local missing persons, but law enforcement do not believe that she matched the missing person flyers that were sent in. Now, deputies canvassed the area with descriptions of the mysterious woman and asked neighbors if they had heard anything. Then on August 29th, authorities identified the 32-year-old woman as only Lauren. Police confirmed that she was alive after a house call. A man in the home threatened to end his life, and when authorities arrived, they discovered the man, later identified as Dennis Collins. He had died from a self-inflicted. Now, Dennis's girlfriend was the mysterious woman. Authorities say she is the victim of domestic violence. On September 18th, Lauren opened up on Inside Edition detailing how she ended up at the doorbell. She fell asleep next to her boyfriend of 4 months and woke up to what seemed like a nightmare. "I woke up and he was kneeling on my chest and stuffing some sort of cloths in my mouth," she said. "I truly felt like I was going to die that night." And coming in at number 1 is house explosion. On August 16th of this year, an explosion in a residential suburb outside of Pittsburgh left 6 people dead, including a father and son, and injured several others. It destroyed 3 houses and damaged at least a dozen more, authorities said. First responders who rushed to the plum found people trapped under debris and took 3 people to the hospital. The remains of 5 victims, 4 adults and 1 child, was also found at the scene. Another person died a couple days later at a local hospital. The Allegheny County County Office of the Medical Examiner said. Now, the incident appeared to begin when one house exploded, engulfing 2 neighboring homes in flames as well, according to the county. Now, multiple other homes were damaged with windows blown out, and crews from 18 fire departments covered the scene and put out the flames and sift through the rubble. Now, what's incredible is that a neighboring house caught the explosion on camera. Fire officials are still investigating the cause of the explosion, and investigators are aware the homeowners of the exploded house were having issues with the water tank in their basement and are looking into that as a potential cause, along with any and all other possibilities, they said in an update. "I heard this boom. It was so loud that it woke me up. I thought it was thunder from the storms last night," a neighbor, Alexis Tempinski, told CNN affiliate WTAE. "My water bottle fell on me instantaneously. I was shaking. It scared me so bad."
Starting things off at number 10, we have The Purge. I think the more footage I see from Ring doorbells, my fear of the dark has only intensified. Those things never seem to catch anything nice. There's a Reddit user who further made me want to never leave my house in the dark. The user that goes by the fabulous username of Fat and Depressed shared that between the hours of 12 AM and 4 AM, he got 4 notifications on his phone that his doorbell had detected a visitor. Immediately upon seeing those, I would absolutely be unsettled. When he checked the doorbell's camera the first 3 times, there was nothing. He went on to say that he was thinking it was some sort of stray dog or cat or animal of some kind setting off the motion sensor. That was until the 4th notification came along. This time when he checked the camera, a face showed up on the screen. He also posted a photo of said face, and oh man, not what you want looking back at you at 4 AM. It looked like a guy in his 50s with a face that appeared to be painted white. It could have just been the night lighting on the camera, but his face was white. He also looked like he was wearing black eyeliner all the way around his eyes, and he was standing with his hands behind his back. It seriously looked like a scene from The Purge. Number 9, clowns. Remember the creepy clown epidemic in like 2014 that had people dressing like clowns and making us all scared to leave our houses? Well, you can imagine the chilling security footage that came with that phase. One video in particular comes from none other than Jacksonville, Florida, and whether it was a prank or not, I don't like the video regardless. The footage comes from a home security camera, and it shows the porch of a house with an extremely creepy looking clown standing there looking at the camera. The clown is dressed in an all-white clown jumpsuit, white face, and some clown makeup not suitable for a children's birthday party. For most of the video, the clown just stands there staring at the camera, only moving slightly to tilt his head further to the side. Then the clown decided to take the poor homeowner's pumpkin and start punching it quite aggressively, I have to say. I'm sure when they woke up and saw that video, they wished they never had. Without the security camera, they would have just noticed their pumpkin smashed, but no, thanks to technology, they got to watch a creepy clown stare into their eyes while doing it. I think if I saw this video on my porch, I would be moving out right away. Number 8, where's the exit? User Dr. Beso on Reddit shared a story that just might send a shiver up your spine. He said that he worked as a doctor in a UK hospital, and on a particularly quiet night shift, the nurses told him a story of another doctor at the hospital. The story went that the doctor was running to a crash call when a woman stopped him to ask which way the front entrance was. The doctor directed the woman and kept hustling to the patient. When he got there, he said it was the woman who had stopped him to ask for directions. The woman ended up not making it in the end, but they just had to check the security footage. The whole encounter was caught on the cameras, except the story told on the footage has a slight difference to the one the doctor shared. The camera showed him running, stop midway down the hall, and gesture to the exit while saying something. The only problem was there was no woman on the video. I don't even know how you could explain that one. I hope they gave that doctor a nice long weekend after that. At number 7, stolen phone. This person shared a story that started as a stolen phone and ended in a creepy mystery. He said that they had to call the cops while his girlfriend's cell phone was stolen off the porch of their apartment. He explained that the apartment is a room sectioned off on the first floor of an old mansion with a fenced-in porch. When the officer arrived, he asked to see the surveillance tapes, and the maintenance man let them come along to help the cops with the timestamps to narrow down the footage. Unfortunately, they did not see the person who took his girlfriend's phone. That being said, right about the time they expected to see someone grab the phone, they did see a man. Apparently it was not a resident, as there are only 4 and they all know each other in the building. The man appeared to be running frantically from something, and at full force he entered the only door of the building and never left. Even after over 24 hours of footage. I would have simply left all my belongings behind and found a new apartment after that. Number 6, out of thin air. As she shared on Reddit that he was one of the people going through footage from security cameras outside of Pulse nightclub before, during, and after the horrible tragedy that happened there in 2016. While I'm sure all of the footage was quite disturbing, he also claimed to have found something a little supernatural. He said there were so many sad and disturbing things to be seen. The strange one, however, was a wounded man that appeared out of nowhere. Apparently, the mystery man waved his hands for help and cops came over to carry him to safety. Etchy shared that he tried numerous times to rewind and find where the man came from, but he was either just there or he wasn't. He didn't crawl to where he ended up, he just appeared. I bet anything that he was sitting with that footage for ages, going back and forth, frame by frame, slowly driving himself crazy. I don't know how he ever stopped rewatching it. I think I would have just become consumed by the mystery of it all. At number 5, frozen footage. Reddit user Trudenter shared a spooky work story that would make it even harder to get out of bed and head to work. He said that he worked at a place that required people to be there 24 hours a day. He was working the night shift and said the security on the building was pretty good. Bars on the window, multiple locked doors, the usual, no one can get in without authorization setup. He said he was finishing up his shift when he heard a door close. After checking the cameras, he saw a person walking towards the room he was in. Thinking it was someone early for their shift, he waited, but when no one entered the room, the hairs on his neck started to rise. He said it not being a huge building, he would go and find the person from the tape. He came up empty-handed, but noticed a fire door had shut. Trudenter said he went to look back at the footage, but didn't have the password. He then said he sat with his spine tingling until the morning shift came in. He told his coworker what had happened, and he went home. When he asked them what they found on the footage, they said it showed the fire door closing, but then the video froze for about an hour. The next thing the camera caught was him reopening the door. Talk about shivers, I would never work the night shift alone again. At number 4, injured intruder. Just Stoic on Reddit shared the story of how she had no idea there was an intruder trying to break into her house until seeing the footage her home's camera caught of it happening. She said that she was living with her godparents at the time. Her godfather had returned from work at about 6 p.m. and asked why there was blood near the pool in the backyard. Just Stoic said she'd been in the room right next to the pool the whole time, so she had no idea what her godfather was on about. They both pulled up the security footage from the day, and sure enough, they figured out the answers. The footage showed a man jumping the fence in broad daylight, cutting himself on their barbed wire above the fence, and frantically looking for a way into the house through the back. The user said she had been maybe 10 feet from the intruder at one point and did not hear a thing. Scary to think what could have happened if a window had been left open. Dang, not even safe from people trying to break in with barbed wire around your house. Number 3, bike be gone. One Reddit user shared his scary security footage story, and it's definitely a head scratcher. The user explained he used to have an apartment near his office building, which was kinda secluded from the rest of the city's commercial district. Anyway, he said that he sold his apartment, and before moving he left his bike chained to the building's bike rack. He figured the bike would be okay in what he called the no man's land for a few days. Then in the middle of the week one day, he came to the office and noticed that the bike rack was completely empty. Since his office was close, he asked the IT guy to watch the security footage in order to catch the bike thief in action. The Reddit user said as he and the IT guy watched, they saw people leaving the office the night before, bike is still there, they kept watching, and all of a sudden the bike was gone. He said we slowed the tape down and literally it was bike there and then poof, gone. The user then went on to say he assumed his bike got taken to the upside down. If that happened to me, I don't think I would ever sleep again knowing my bike just vanished into thin air. Number 2, school prank or poltergeist. There is a secondary school in Cork, Ireland called Deer Park Christian Brothers School. In October 2017, they released footage from a school's security camera that caught some sort of ghost causing a ruckus in the hallway. The video shows a door being slammed open, lockers shaking, locker doors opening, and even the wet floor sign gets thrown around. The video was a viral hit, earning coverage from a wide variety of outlets, with the school's deputy principal telling them he had no idea how things were moving in the video. Wolf said, "We couldn't understand how this had occurred. If it's a prank, it's very well done. After watching the video myself, I'm not even sure how a person could have pulled off the video either." To point even more fingers to it being a ghost, the school is built on a site known as Green Gallows, where in the 19th century criminals would go to be punished. And in the 19th century they weren't just throwing them in cells. Was it a tech-savvy student pulling a prank, or the angry spirit of a criminal? And at number 1, ominous elevator ride. You may already know the story of the Cecil Hotel and Elisa Lam. You may have already seen the scary footage of her right before her passing, and it's unsettling. Basically, guests at the hotel in Los Angeles complained of low water pressure in their rooms. This caused employees to head up to the roof and check out the water tank. Instead of finding faulty wiring or a broken pipe, they found the body of poor Elisa Lam. She was a young woman traveling on her own. Police were obviously called to investigate, and what they found on the security tape is creepy. The footage she appeared in before the incident was from an elevator, and something was just not right about it all. In it, Lam seemingly speaks to someone, presses all the buttons, and peeks her head out almost as though looking for a person she was scared of. The video has been dissected by law enforcement and conspiracy theorists, but we still have no idea what really happened to Lam. The footage is really ominous, and it only added more confusion as to how she ended up in that water tank.
And we're kicking off this list with the ghost patient. In this security camera footage from a hospital in Argentina, we see a security guard sitting at his desk. It's late and there's nobody else in the foyer aside from the guard. At least that's the way it looks to us. We watch as the automatic doors open, as if someone is entering into the hospital. Only there's nobody actually there. Or is there? The security guard seems to think there is, because he gets up from his desk and walks over to check this invisible person in. We watch him talk to what looks like thin air before allowing whoever or whatever it is inside. The guard later said that he had seen a woman walk into the hospital. She said she'd left something in the room she'd been staying in. The staff were of course pretty creeped out by the footage, especially when it was discovered that the name he'd taken down when letting the invisible entity into the hospital was the same name as a woman who had died just the previous day. Coming in at number 9, we have Miss Abigail. In this footage taken in a building in Houston, Texas, we see a security guard once again having a conversation with what looks like thin air. His coworker watching the cameras is filming her screen, completely confused by what she's seeing. Then she radios in to the guard asking who he's talking to. He responds by saying he's speaking with Miss Abigail, who's looking for Mr. Griffin. The coworker becomes even more confused now, saying, "You sure you're saying Miss Abigail? She died 2 years ago." She then goes on to say that there's nobody in the hallway with him. Suddenly it sinks in for the guard and he turns around and starts running down the hallway. Fair enough, that would probably be my reaction as well. Even if this is just a hoax, it's such a creepy idea. Imagine having what you think is just some innocuous conversation with somebody, only to be told, hey bud, nobody there with you. I also have this haunting image in my mind of how this supposed ghost looked once the guard was told he wasn't talking to anyone. Did Miss Abigail disappear? Or even creepier, and what I'm kind of picturing is that she just stood there completely still, staring blankly at him until he ran away. Next on the list we have the poltergeist. In the security footage captured in a 200-year-old school in Cork Island called Deer Park CBS, we see a series of paranormal phenomena take place. First, a door at the end of the hallway seemingly opens on its own before violently slamming shut. Then a filing cabinet or locker starts rocking back and forth out of nowhere. One of the lockers opens up and papers start flying out on their own. A wet floor sign suddenly flips out. I don't know, it spins around and collapses. Whatever was causing this to happen was not in a good mood that night. Number 7, the hospital ghost. This is a story that was posted to Reddit by user Dr. Basio. Goes as follows. I work as a doctor in a hospital in the UK and was on a night shift that was particularly quiet. Some of the nurses were sitting around telling this story. A young doctor was running to a crash call. Our hospital is a giant L shape, with the front entrance being at the bend. A woman stopped him and asked him which way the exit was. He directed her and kept running. When he got to the patient, it was the woman who had asked him for directions. She had died. Apparently it got caught on the CCTV that the doctor stopped running midway down the hallway and gestured toward the exit while saying something to no one in particular. So supposedly, the confused spirit of this patient who had just died spoke to the doctor, who was racing over to save her life. Pretty spooky stuff. And hey, if there's any place where paranormal stuff like this is gonna take place, it's gotta be a hospital. At number 6, we have one that's pretty similar to the Miss Abigail video. This footage was originally uploaded to TikTok by the security guard in the video, Luis de Alvarez, who took it down soon after, utterly traumatized by the entire event. He was working as a night guard and was alone patrolling a floor he was on when he spotted an old lady. We watch as he walks over to who he believes is a person, although we can't see anyone but him in the footage. He begins talking to what he later described as an old lady who was saying she was lost. But another guard tells him over his walkie-talkie that there's nobody there. He's the only one on the floor. The guard was waiting for the elevator, but decided to just leg it out of there as fast as he could. We cut to another angle, and he's like running through the parking lot, and then just out of the building completely. Ran halfway across the city, I'm sure. Number 5, night shift. Oh boy, working alone at night in a big empty building. Just the thought of that sends shivers down my spine. In this story, posted to Reddit by True Denter, they describe their encounter with a man who seemingly disappeared into thin air. I used to work at a place which was required to be manned 24 hours a day. Anyways, security is kinda tight. Bars on windows, multiple locked doors to get to where I am. They would give me work to do during the night, but underestimated how quickly I could get it done. So now it's getting to be the last third of my shift when all of a sudden I hear a door close. I look at the security camera and see someone walking down a hall towards my room. First I thought it was just somebody that came in ridiculously early, so I turn around and wait for them to come in, but nobody came in, and the hairs start rising on my back. Now this isn't a really big building, so I figure I'll find the guy wherever he is. I start checking offices and storage rooms, but come up empty-handed. However, I do see that a fire door had shut. I go to try and rewind the camera, but the digital recording is password protected and I don't know the password. Anyways, the whole thing freaked me out. The way the person was walking down the hallway, like a determined walk right to where I was. So I sit with my spine tingling for the last couple hours of my shift, and finally people start coming in. My replacement shows up and I tell her what I saw, and at this point I figure I must have imagined the whole thing. I'm told to go home, and the manager and the girl who replaced me would look over the camera. After getting home, I call my manager and ask what was on the camera. So they said that the video showed the fire door closing, but then the video froze for about an hour. The next thing it records is me reopening the door. Next up we have Son's Ghost. In 2019, a woman named Jennifer Hodge received an alert on her phone from her Nest Cam, which detects movement and sound, reading, "Take a look. Your entryway camera spotted a person." She'd been watching TV with her daughter and was about to fall asleep when she got this notification. They looked at the image, and it showed what looked to be a ghostly figure standing in their kitchen. Her daughter immediately said, "Mom, look, it looks like Robbie." Robbie was her brother and Jennifer's son, who had passed away 2 years earlier. But they both agreed that the figure in the photo captured by the camera did look exactly like Robbie. They immediately ran to the kitchen, but there was nobody there, and no signs of forced entry either. Hodge described feeling comforted by the situation though, saying, "I felt like he was letting me know he's happy in heaven." Number 3, the bike. This is another story posted to Reddit by user TJS252, who wrote the following. I used to have an apartment pretty close to my office. The office building was kind of on its own relative to the city's commercial district. I sold the apartment, and before moving into my new home, I left my bicycle chained to the building's bike rack. It was only to be there for a few days and at no man's land before I was able to move it into my new place. Anyway, one day in the middle of the week, I come into the office, walk past the bike rack, and notice it's completely empty. The building has a bunch of security cameras, and one more or less is facing the bike rack. I sit and watch the security tape with the IT guy. We're watching, see everyone leave the office the night before, see the bike, keep watching, then all of a sudden, poof, bike gone. We slowed the tape down, and it seemed like when you're watching a digital cable or satellite and the image gets garbled, literally it was bike there, then poof, gone. And the tape's timestamp, it literally happened in 1 second. I assume my bike got taken down to the upside down. Coming at number 2, we have the ghost attack. Here we see a security camera footage that looks to be coming from an office or apartment building. We see this guy walking down the hallway when all of a sudden something sends him flying back to the floor. You can see a very obvious dark shadowy shape appear, which then begins dragging the dude down the hallway by the leg. Luckily it doesn't drag him very far before disappearing though, and the man, now free from the mysterious entity's grasp, stumbles to his feet and starts booking it back the way he came. Whatever friend he was seeing, appointment he had booked, whatever it wasn't happening that day. Being violently dragged down a hallway by a shadowy entity kinda has a way of disrupting your plans for the day, I reckon. Now, as to whether this video is real or not, let me know what you think. I think it's a well done video, but yeah, I'm just not sold on the whole ghost thing yet. I wanna be though. And finally, we have the nursing home specter. A security guard named Jay Brown was working the night shift at a nursing home in Chicago when he spotted some sort of ghostly figure floating past the front desk. In this video, he's watching back at the security camera footage as he films, talking about what he saw. If you look closely at the footage, you actually see some sort of misty shape floating around in the corner. You watch as Brown stands up, confused and terrified as to what he's witnessing. At one point, he even throws a book at the ghostly mass, but then he decides to just take a deep breath, calm down, and get on with his shift. You know, stuff happens at work. Rude patients, long hours, sometimes there's a ghost in the corner, you gotta whip a book out and then just get on with your day. Brown stated that whatever the strange entity is, it seems to show up every few months.
Coming in number 10, we have the mysterious shadow figure. Now, the start of this video just looks like a normal person walking out. Like, honestly, you'll see what I'm talking about when you see it. In fact, let's just jump right into the clip so I can show you. See how it looks like just a normal person walking out with a flashlight, just doing a stroll? I mean, it's in the middle of the night, so it would be a little weird to go for a midnight stroll, but then the person turns into nothingness, and then you see the shadowy figure walk past the front of the garbage can in a more shadowy state. What is that thing? It looks like it's a ghost of a dad looking for his lost screwdriver. The way he's walking so determined with the flashlight. Also, how does a shadow figure produce light like that? Coming in at number 9, we have out for a stroll. The next clip looks so much like a real person, but then when you get close, you can see that the figure seems to not have legs. It's these ones that are so close to real that make you question whether or not this is just a camera screwing up or actually something much more mysterious caught on camera. Like, what is that thing? It could have been just someone out and about, or it could have been a ghost rushing to get to the monster mash. Let me know in the comments what you guys think this mysterious thing was. Coming at number 8, we have the darkness. This was a very strange thing that was spotted in the United States. There was some sort of strange energy that was spotted moving through America. Well, I don't know if spotted is the right way to put this. It was more like it wasn't spotted, but it was noticed. Let me explain this a little better so everyone can understand exactly what I'm talking about. So there was a series of blackouts that was seen on a ton of security cameras in a small American town. Basically, one after the other, security cameras would black out and stop recording for a short period of time. The strange thing about this is this didn't happen in one area all at once like some sort of power outage. It swept through an area almost like it was rolling past the cameras and causing them to shut down. Some people speculate that this could have been some sort of government testing, a new type of ship that was sent out with some sort of destabilizing tech that can make any sort of filming equipment stop working. That actually sounds kind of accurate because it would make sense to have some sort of tech like that for military use. Coming in at number 7, we have the floating orb. Apparently, when you spot an orb floating around on camera, that means that there's something spectral going on. No one knows exactly what kind of spectral activity it could be. It could be a ghost passing through. It could be a couple ghosts walking into each other, giving off a charge. Maybe it's a ghost trying to alert people because they want to communicate with them. Either way, it always comes off a little creepy, especially when you see something like this.
An orb-shaped object has been spotted by surveillance cameras. This video, which has garnered more than 500 views on YouTube, was taken last Tuesday.
This was taken at the National Spacewalk Museum in Florida. I guess it's a ghost that really likes space travel and people who walk on the moon. Maybe it's Lance Armstrong himself who came to see how his life's work is being represented in the Spacewalk Museum. I mean, don't pretend like you wouldn't do the same thing if you were a ghost. I would go through all my old pictures on Instagram to see if anyone wrote some nice RIP messages. Coming in at number 6, we have the bag face. A man was spotted on a doorbell security camera moving through a neighborhood. Now, when you read that sentence, it doesn't seem that strange that someone would be having a nice stroll through a town. But when you find out that this person was walking up to people's doorsteps, staring at the door for a few minutes, and then leaving some packages on the front door, and then walking away, well, then you start to realize that there was something very strange going on here. Inside this strange package was a note that had a bunch of names scribbled on it and some gibberish. They weren't names related to anyone in the home, so it doesn't seem like our mystery person actually knew the people in the homes he was visiting. Does that make it any less creepy? No, not at all. Well, at least he was caught on camera. We know what this dude looks like, right? Well, actually not. This guy was called Baghead for a reason. This dude had a canvas bag thrown over his head. He looked like Jason from the first couple Friday the 13th movies. Coming in at number 5, we have the Flash. A giant flash of bright light was spotted in Kansas on a security camera. It was so bright it seemed like it changed the night sky to daylight, but it was only for a second. Funny thing is, no one in the town reported seeing anything like this, but it comes through clear as day on the video. Do you think this was just a malfunction of the camera, or did a massive neuralizer go off and memory wipe the entire city? Coming in at number 4, we have strange lights. It seems like with all the cameras we have set up around the world, UFOs are starting to pop up more and more. I mean, they are so prevalent that the American military has now announced that UFOs are real. Does that mean aliens are real? Well, I guess we need to catch one to find out. But in the meantime, we have security cameras to catch what seems to be a UFO flying through the sky. They have been seen on security cameras tons of times, not in just America, but all over the world. I think it's safe to say that we are not alone in the universe. And if you had any questions about whether or not it was just the human race in the galaxy, well, I have our next point for you. Coming in at number 3, we have, is this an alien? So apparently this footage captures what's supposed to be an alien just out and about on his own. Now, the only problem with this is it seems super close up, and you can't really get a good look at this strange alien creature that might be lurking in this person's backyard. So let's get a good look at this, and I'll let you at home decide whether or not you think that this is an alien that came down from space to say hello on camera. It does look a little suspicious to me, the way that the body is formed and how fast and fluid it moves. I mean, it could just be a bug really close to the lens. When you look at a bug from straight on, it looks like something that landed here on an asteroid and wants to drink your spinal fluid like a Slurpee. And coming into the number 2 spot, we have meteor or alien. Something very strange was caught on a home security camera in Alberta. Most people on the internet are saying that this is a meteor coming down to Earth and burning up in the atmosphere. Now, it could be that, or it could be something else. Now that could just as easily be an alien ship coming into our atmosphere to come down to Earth so it can steal some more humans for testing. I don't really know if aliens frequent Alberta, but I wouldn't be surprised if they like to go there. There's a lot of open farmland there where you can come in and abduct someone without anyone else knowing or seeing. Either way, this is some very interesting footage. And coming into the number 1 spot, we have haunting your baby. I couldn't think of anything more frightening than having something haunting your baby, because it's one thing if it's coming after you. You can deal with it and you can protect yourself, but it's already hard to take care of your kids and to make sure that they don't get hurt. How are you supposed to protect your kids from something supernatural? But check out this video and tell me if it doesn't make you want to jump out of your own skin.
It's an image Heather and Josh say is haunting their home.
It was chilling. It was literally a chill.
What the hell on earth is that? You can see the shadow walking around in the background, just creeping around the baby's crib. How do you stop that? Do you put garlic around the crib to make sure that it can't come any closer? Also, how much of a boss is that baby? He wasn't scared at all. He just pops his head up and he's like, hey, what's going on in here? He was staring down the ghost like, hey dude, got any snacks? I don't know who you are, but if you got snacks, we can be friends.
Number 10, 2 Chainz. 2 Chainz is an American rapper. He's best known for his song songs We Own It, Mercy, and Watch Out. Now, usually people aren't out there robbing people out in the open, especially celebrities. It's usually one of their various houses that get broken into, but this was not the case for 2 Chainz. A building surveillance camera caught 2 Chainz and his entourage robbed and threatened with weapons just hours before he was set to perform in San Francisco. At first, he denied the claims that he was robbed, but then the videos were released and his personal bodyguards spoke out about their harrowing ordeal. He said, "They pointed their weapons at us and we were like, whoa, we thought it was a joke for a minute. We looked at them, we stopped, kinda paused, we thought it was a joke. Then all we heard was 2 Chainz, give it up. So we stood there and didn't do anything, and we kinda froze cause we wanted to see if this was real." All of a sudden, the next thing you know, 2 Chainz kinda backed up a little bit, and then he said, give it up, and then all of a sudden he took off running first. 3 men reportedly approached 2 Chainz and his entourage and chased them down the street. One of them fired at the group, but no one was struck. 2 Chainz came clean about the incident and said, "I was like, this is real, I had bullet fragments in my hair, I think he thought he shot me." Now, this definitely sounds like a targeted attack, and it's crazy. Number 9. Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather is an American boxing promoter and former professional boxer. As a professional boxer, he competed between 1996 and 2017, retiring with an undefeated record and winning 15 major world championships from super featherweight to light middleweight. While being one of the most talented boxers in his field, he's also known for being overly flashy and showing off the extent of his finances. In August 2008, his Las Vegas home was robbed of $7 million in jewels. A security camera caught the footage of 4 burglars smashing into the home, and it's truly shocking that they didn't take more. Mayweather had been featured on HBO numerous times and showed that he keeps $1 million in his bedroom and has tens of thousands in cash on him at all times. Why does he do this? No one knows, and flexing that to the public isn't the best idea, but I guess he learned the hard way. According to a spokesman for Las Vegas Metro Police Department, Mayweather's home was empty when the intruder broke in. After this, a representative of the Floyd Mayweather Jr. Foundation announced a $100,000 reward for information, leading to the recovery of the items, but if I were Mayweather, I'd just stop showing off so much. Number 8. Michael Bublé. Michael Bublé is a Canadian singer who is a 4-time Grammy Award winner. He's best known for his songs It's a Beautiful Day, Sway, and his renditions of Christmas classics. In 2011, when Michael and his now wife Luciana Lapidito were getting married in Argentina, their Buenos Aires home was robbed. The robbers managed to disarm the home security system and even covered the lenses of the home surveillance cameras. This is definitely not something that a couple wants to return to after the happiest day of their lives, but at least they weren't home and no one was hurt. While learning about the break-in, Louisiana told reporters, "I will not let this ruin the happiest day of my life." Number 7. Khloe Kardashian. Khloe Kardashian is a media personality and socialite. She has starred with her family in the reality television series Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Now, Khloe was married to Lamar Odom for a while, and they had their issues. The home they lived in together was ultimately put up for sale and left empty while awaiting the new occupant, Kaylee Cuoco. Now, the moment when Khloe realized that she had been robbed was caught on film for the reality TV show, since it became evident that someone had tampered with her safe. Ironically, the only item stolen belonged to Lamar, and it led many to believe that it was an inside job. Reportedly, $250,000 worth of jewelry was stolen from the home. Number 6. Arsenio Hall. Arsenio Hall is a comedian, actor, and talk show host. He has hosted the late-night talk show The Arsenio Hall Show from 1989 until 1994, and again from 2013 to 2014. He has also appeared in Marital Law, Coming to America, and Harlem Nights. Now, he was the target of not 1 but 2 break-ins in 2022, and to make things even worse, he was home when the criminals tried to get in. On September 20th, it was reported that days earlier, according to LAPD sources, that he went downstairs to investigate after hearing a loud noise and found that someone had broken the glass on a sliding door in an attempt to gain entry, but quickly left. A month earlier, 2 people broke a window, then entered the home, but got spooked and left when they realized he was there. According to TMZ, cops are looking at surveillance video from his house and his neighborhood to try to ID the suspects and figure out if he was being targeted. Being robbed is terrifying, but being home when it happens is a whole other thing. Number 5. A$AP Rocky. A$AP Rocky is a rapper, record producer, and record executive. He's best known for his songs Praise the Lord, Sundress, and Every Day. Now, according to multiple media accounts, in May 2017, 3 male suspects entered the artist's residence in LA. They knocked on the door, and when a woman, supposedly his sister, answered, they allegedly forced their way into the house. Officials reportedly told the media outlet that the men grabbed the woman and took her around the house, where they collected $1.5 million in jewelry and other valuables. They tried to get her to open the safe, but after she wasn't able to, they left with it. They later abandoned it on a nearby sidewalk when they couldn't get it into their getaway car, which just sounds funny to me. A$AP Rocky wasn't home during the time of the attack, but reports suggest that the robbery was not a random hit, but instead a targeted attack. The woman who was home at the time wasn't hurt or injured anyway, which is good. Number 4, Jen Atkin. Jen Atkin is a hairstylist, entrepreneur, and columnist. She was robbed and she was able to watch the whole thing on camera. She posted, "So whoever's in my closet right now stealing all my jewelry, we have you on camera and police are on their way," alongside a surveillance video of the 2 thieves rifling through her bedroom closet. The hairstylist, who was working a photo shoot at a nearby beach, continued, "Update, police are on it and I can't say too much, but get cameras in your house guys, they're so helpful." Later that day, she put out a post saying, "Was staring at this gorgeous view today while our house was being robbed. It felt super violating, but we know in our hearts that there are good people out in this sometimes dark world. Yes, we'll have to adjust to how we live a bit, but I'm grateful for all the good people in our life. Just thinking of it as a good deed, and hopefully the material things we loved will help whoever needed to steal it. Oh, and get Nest, it's worth every penny." Apparently they have robbed a couple houses on our very street today. It's the same guys. Everybody's putting all the clues together, so guess what, buddies? It's so crazy that people do this with cameras, it's so not smart. Now, I completely agree with her. It's good that it was all recorded though, and no one was home at the time. Number 3, Dorit Kemsley. Dorit Kemsley is an American fashion designer and television personality. She is best known as a main cast member on the reality TV show The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Now, around 11 p.m. on October 27th, 2021, 3 men broke into her house and confronted her in her bedroom. She allegedly woke up to 2 men standing at the end of her bed. In a statement, the department claimed both suspects threatened to end her life as she pleaded for her life and the lives of her children who were in the house at the time sleeping. She reportedly told the robbers, "Don't hurt my babies, don't kill me, I'm a mom." Police explained that she instructed the intruders where to find her most valuable items, including high-end handbags, jewelry, and watches, in hopes of keeping her family safe. In fear for her safety, the victim complied with the suspect's demand and directed them to the valuables, the report said. She feels fortunate her young children were both unarmed and unaware of the fright. Writing on Instagram, she said, "My family now needs to start the healing process. I have thrown myself into work. I want our family to return to normality as soon as possible. With the love and support of my husband, my incredible family, friends, fans, and followers, I am confident this is the right thing to do whilst I independently work through the trauma. An investigation is still ongoing to determine whether or not this was a targeted attack, though she seems to think the robbery may have had to do something with her social media posts." Number 2, Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga is a singer, songwriter, and actress. She's best known for her songs Born This Way, Just Dance, and Applause, as well as her acting performances in A Star Is Born, American Horror Story, and House of Gucci. In February 2021, Ryan Fisher was walking the pop star's 3 French bulldogs in Hollywood when 2 men jumped out of a white Nissan Altima and confronted Ryan, demanding that he give up the dogs. A struggle ensued and Ryan was shot once. The suspects were able to flee with 2 of the dogs, Koji and Gustav. The 3rd dog was safely recovered at the scene. Lady Gaga posted, "My heart is sick and I am praying my family will whole again with an act of kindness. I will pay $500,000 for their safe return. I continue to love you, Ryan Fisher. You risked your life for our family. You're forever a hero," she wrote. In April 2021, 5 people were arrested in connection to the robbery, including Jennifer McBride, who eventually turned in the dogs. After Jennifer turned in the dogs, Los Angeles police discovered that she had a relationship with the father of one of the men arrested for the robbery. She was arrested as an accessory, and in December 2022, she pleaded no contest to 1 count of receiving stolen property. She was sentenced to 2 years of probation, but today Jennifer is suing Lady Gaga, alleging she did not receive the reward. The lawsuit states that Gaga defrauded Jennifer by making a promise without intent to perform. The lawsuit goes on to claim that Jennifer has suffered damages, pain and suffering, mental anguish, and loss of enjoyment of life as a result of not receiving the $500,000. But she helped steal the dogs, so I don't think she has the right to the award or to literally sue Lady Gaga. And coming in at number 1 is Kim Kardashian. Kim Kardashian is a socialite, media personality, and businesswoman. She first gained media attention as a friend and stylist of Paris Hilton and is known for starring alongside her family on their reality TV series Keeping Up with the Kardashians. In October 2016, Kim was threatened with weapons and robbed of $10 million worth of jewelry. This included 2 diamond Cartier bracelets, a diamond in a gold Jacob necklace, a gold Rolex watch, diamond Lorraine Schwartz earrings, and her $4 million engagement ring from then-husband Kanye West at the No Name Hotel in Paris during Fashion Week. That evening, Kim, who decided to stay in, was alone in her room while her family's bodyguard left to watch over her sisters, Kourtney Kardashian and Kendall Jenner, when they went out. Burglars tied her hands and feet and put tape over her mouth and legs. She was able to escape after the robbers and she got help. She was obviously shaken up by the whole ordeal, and since then, Kim has been more careful not to flex her money as much. She said, as far as jewelry, if I'm wearing something, it's borrowed, it's fake, no expensive items ever come into my home. I have it all taken from security before I even enter my home. I can't sleep if I have jewelry in my safe or money or anything at my house. I just don't live my life like that. It's good that she's taken these precautions, but I cannot imagine the trauma she has experienced. Number 10. Springfield clowns. Y'all remember how in 2016 there were clowns literally everywhere? They were just plaguing everywhere in the United States, and while some seemed like pranks, it seems like others used a clown costume to commit crimes. Regardless, it was scary and a time I'll never forget. Now, for those of you who don't know, the sightings began earlier than this, with many reported in the US in 2014. One state hit especially hard was Florida, in particular the Springfield neighborhood in Jacksonville. Compilations of clowns captured on home security cameras reached the internet, with news outlets picking them up. The footage was everywhere. Then by mid-October 2016, clown sightings and attacks had been reported in nearly all US states, 9 out of 13 provinces and territories in Canada, and in 18 other countries. It's just scary and unnerving, and I can't imagine sitting at home and looking out the window at night and seeing a clown staring back at me. I honestly think I would cry. Number 9. Nanny cam. Ellen and Nathan Ridgely suddenly woke up to the sound of sexual language coming from their young son's room. Ellen said that her immediate reaction was that there was somebody in there, somebody's in my son's room. When the couple jumped out of bed and turned the light on, the monitor camera in their room, which was previously turned off, was activated. Someone hacked into it, and the hacker, speaking through the camera, told the couple to turn the light off. When they didn't comply, he said, "I'm going to your son, I'm in your son's room." The father ran upstairs to his son's room but found him safe and sound. That's when they realized that their cameras had been hacked and the hacker was bluffing. Now they immediately turned off their Wi-Fi and called the police to report the incident. The family threw out their monitors and now use cameras that don't use Wi-Fi. Nest, the monitor manufacturer, was also notified about the attack, and they told NBC News that such attacks could happen if customers use passwords which were previously leaked due to a data breach. They did not, however, confirm that this had been the cause of this specific attack, and the company advised all their customers to change their factory passwords to 2-factor authentication, and if they notice any suspicious behavior, to contact Nest directly. Number 8. The Masked Man. Finding a masked man at your front door in the middle of the night can be pretty scary, but when that man returns to your home 3 times in 1 week, it's downright frightening, blogger for Ring explains. They said this because that's exactly what happened to a family in Milford, Connecticut. After just a couple days into their vacation, where they were more than 100 miles away from their home, Ring alerted them that a masked man was at their front door. Though he couldn't break in, he returned a few days later. Now, despite the family sending the videos to police and local news stations, the man returned again. This time, however, he was arrested, and thank God, but with someone that persistent, I feel like you have to give them some props. Number 7. Covering up a crime. In the early hours of August 13th, 2018, American oil oil field operator Chris Watts ended the life of his wife and 2 daughters. He buried his wife in a shallow grave near an oil storage facility and dumped his daughters' bodies into crude oil tanks. Now, Chris initially maintained his innocence in his family's disappearance, but was arrested on August 15th after confessing to ending the life of his wife in an interview with detectives. He also later admitted to ending the lives of his daughters too. Now, on November 6, 2018, he pleaded guilty to multiple counts of first-degree homicide as part of a plea deal with the death penalty and was sentenced to 5 life sentences without the possibility of parole, 3 to be served consecutively. Now, during the investigation, a neighbor showed Chris and a police their CCTV footage, hoping they could see what happened to his wife and daughters. They watched the footage and you can see Chris back his car into his driveway, and he can be seen loading a gas can into the bed of his truck. Next, the video shows Chris backing the vehicle into his home's garage. Now, investigators believe Chris used that very truck to transport the bodies of his family to a remote oil work site where they were found days later. Prosecutors believe that Chris, after backing the truck into the garage, likely placed the 3 bodies in the bed before driving them to the oil work site. Now, it's terrifying that no one knew this happened and that it was all practically recorded. Number 6. Fresno night crawlers. I can't even think of an explanation for this, so be prepared to be puzzled. In 2007, Fresno homeowner Jose managed to capture footage of what looks like a pair of pants walking on their own. Like, no one is wearing them, just jeans strolling along his driveway. His dogs barked at these puzzling creatures as they passed by his home, as they should, but Jose only saw them after reviewing the footage. These beings baffled him as well as the investigators of the sci-fi docuseries Fact or Fake Paranormal Files, who deem the suspicious attacks unconfirmable. While there are doubters who believe that it's all a hoax, others think they are of alien origin. There has been speculation online that they're figures from Native American lore, but with little to support it, it seems like we'll never really know what was taking a midnight stroll that night. Number 5. Chicago Creeper. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you? Jack McKencher and his girlfriend Jordan Baranxis didn't, so I'm glad they had security cameras installed. The couple ended up being terrified after going through the footage to settle an argument about a missing purse. Now, they did find out where Jordan's purse had gone, but they found out something way worse. A man later named the Chicago Creeper or the Bucktown Burglar watched them as they watched TV and later went to sleep. He then slowly made his way around the house without waking them up or their dogs and managed to leave with Jordan's purse in hand. Now, I can't imagine knowing someone was in your house while you were asleep. Thankfully, only stealing the purse was the only thing the man did, because it could have been way worse, so remember to always lock your doors. Number 4. The Lurking Man. On July 31st, 2022, Jojo Ramirez was coming home with her son when a man followed them home. They enter the house and she could be heard telling him to take a shower, and she locks the door. Right when she shuts the door, you can see a man appear, following behind them and trying to get into the house. Then she looks out the window to see the man standing there. He tries opening the door and looking through the window, and it's just unsettling because he doesn't blink at all during the entire video. She then realizes the man is there and yells at him to get out of here. He then backs up and you can see more of his body, and his hands are behind his back as it appears that he's trying to hide something, perhaps a weapon. She then contacted the police and they took care of it. She posted the video from her Ring camera online and captioned the post, "This happened to me on 8/31, be careful of your surroundings. Luckily, I locked the door before he attempted to open the door." Number 3. Dobby. Late one night in 2019, Colorado resident Vivian Gomez posted a video of a strange sight her home security camera captured. Internet users were quickly to point out that the creature has a passing resemblance to everyone's favorite house elf, Dobby from the Harry Potter films, but it still didn't explain what it was. Now, the leading theory is that the figure is Vivian's young son dancing with underwear on his head, and one outlet even enlisted him to recreate the footage and try to put the theory to bed. Her son, though, denies that it was him, so what was this creature? Personally, I don't think it's him, because if you look at the footage, the creature is lanky and its knees bend funny. I don't think it's a human, and I fear we'll never know what this creature is. Number 2. Calculated attack. 2 thugs dressed in masks, hoodies, and gloves were caught on CCTV footage carrying a baseball bat and creeping up to a home on the New South Wales Central Coast at 4 a.m. on January 22, 2020. The 2 offenders scoped the property and approached the house from a concealed back door only accessible by rock steps through the thick bushland at the back of the house. Now the thieves woke a female resident in the house who walked down the hallway to turn on the outside lights to deter them. Instead, the two felons hid behind the house and waited for her to leave back to her bedroom before sneaking around to the back door. One of the burglars watched through the doorway while the other took a baseball bat and started smashing the glass door, causing the female homeowner to scream in horror. The man hit the glass 9 times, breaking a small hole in the door and reaching his hand inside before both men fled the house. The female resident said that she was scared that the men were targeting her as she had been alone in the house for the previous 2 weeks while her partner was working out of town. Trent Southwell, director of private investigation from Team Safeguard, said the attack was carefully planned. It's not random, being the time in the morning, the way they've turned up, the way they've covered their faces with hoodies, the baseball bat, the backpack. There's a lot more intent there than just a random attack at a house that's already got cameras as well. Now that is just truly terrifying. And coming in at number 1, are you sure? Now this footage scares me to my core. It shows a man approaching a house and repeatedly knocking on the door while repeating, "I just have a couple questions for you, are you sure?" This goes on for a couple minutes before a man responds over the Ring doorbell. At this point, the footage turns all the more unsettling as the man at the door says he wants to take advantage and end the life of the woman inside the house. The footage was shared by Amanda Nowak of Las Vegas, and according to Amanda, she was inside the house during the entire encounter. The man never saw her and was never actually speaking directly to her during these tense 3 minutes, and thankfully the man has been arrested, but that doesn't make the footage any less unnerving.